Welcome back to Insured Solutions and our ongoing series of how to deal with the challenges of workers' compensation by going on offense. The subject we're going to discuss now is safety. And safety is relevant, let's make no bones about it. Every workplace has specific or certain safety concerns. However, if you've dealt with the industry long enough, you know that the regulatory bodies have mounds and thousands of pages of safety data and information that you're expected to understand, digest, and disseminate to the employees. But awkwardly, for some reason, the system believes the employees can understand this, number one, and number two, that they really want to. And nothing could be further from the truth. The key is not to be fooled by noble intentions. The key is to take safety and compartmentalize it where it works. It has to work. Going through extensive checklists and extensive amounts of information that are written as if you're a physicist or a rocket scientist is not going to work in the everyday workplace. Our approach to safety is to take it, again, using behavior as the foundation for what you're doing. The information is not that important. The information is basic, it's simple, it's in your face. It's the behavior pattern that's established. If you, under your behavior policies, have set up a progressive discipline program, 3 or 4 steps, predicated on safety and the fact you have rules, you make them understandable, you monitor, and you enforce, that sets the stage for what you do. The key is to make safety available and understandable so it's enforceable. You can't throw out mounds and mounds of information over a 30-minute to an hour training program and expect employees to understand it. Yet you have certain obligatory conditions under safety which you must address. Keeping safety functional is our key. That's the key. What we like to do is we like to extract the important elements where a catastrophic loss can exist and definitely go at an attack on that. And remember, you've always got the government as your triangulation tool. Everything you do, you can empathize with the employees on as far as being complicated, time-consuming, or difficult to grasp because you've got the federal government behind you saying you have to do this, and then you have to find a way to make it understandable. So your choice and our choice is keep it simple. The first tool you're going to see on the screen is the one about 5 basic safety rules. The simple thing is there's 5 rules, English the top, Spanish on the bottom half. These 5 rules about say it all. If you have a fixed location where you do any kind of manufacturing, any kind of industrial operations, where you have the concern about protective equipment or lockout tag out policies, where you can have a catastrophic loss. Now, these are not just rules to be read and cast aside. The key to the rules that you create and we will help you with is to simplify them, and they must be read and learned to memory. The key is they're learned. Therefore, you cannot make them too complicated. And I say that and visualize this. If you had a safety meeting and you had that one form, 5 basic safety rules, it's only a half a page, and you held up the 1910 regulatory book with 1,100 pages, and you asked the employees, had you rather take this book home for the weekend and study it, or had you rather learn these 5 rules? Everyone is going to opt for the 5 rules. Case closed, they just committed themselves. Those 5 rules will make a difference if you do what? You monitor for compliance and you enforce, meaning you write them up, and the write-ups can lead to disciplinary behavior because you're going to have to prove that you enforce them, and unless you have write-ups, you can't do that. These 5 rules are basic and they're simple. This same format is applicable through various sections of the regulatory books. And again, you're not going to have to deal with all of those. So you pick out the ones that matter the most from a catastrophic loss standpoint. Zero in. Remember, repetition is the mother of awareness. They must learn those rules. You can go so far as to issue a certificate of learning for those that can recite them, not word for word, but have the basic gist of them for their supervisor. And you put that certificate, you give them a copy, and on the back you make a copy of the rules that they learn. And you put a copy in the break room on the wall. And now you've got peer pressure working. If Joe can learn those silly things, I can too. You get peer pressure working, so you get the benefit of simplicity, and what you've established unknowingly is a pattern of discipline that will spread out in other areas. Not just safety, but safety can be a focus point for it. You keep them basic. On the screen now, you'll see a self-inspection form. This is a simple form because every employer has an obligation to do a monthly inspection of their property. This is a simple form. We have supplemental regulatory documents that reference to the 29 CFR 1910 if you need that, and we oftentimes will provide it as a backup, but this is a simple supplemental way to do the inspection. And rotate it around. Let different people conduct the inspection so they learn a little bit more about it. You don't have to make rocket science out of it, depending on your location and whether you've been flagged, whether you've had claims, whether you had an employee complain to OSHA, whether it's OSHA nationwide or whether it's Cal OSHA in California. If they complain, they're going to show up and they're going to start to go through everything. You need to show some good faith effort. Maybe not perfection, but effort. We're able to provide you every tool you need when it comes to safety, from a program to the individual subjects. And we're able to coach you and explain how to use these to your advantage without making rocket science out of it. On the screen now, you'll see a subject that is applicable to every single employer, and there are only two. There are two subjects every employer must address. Bloodborne pathogens, as you see here. This is a cut across with a short one-page study part, and then you flip it over on the back, and there's a test. And then you've got answers. This can be done in about 5 minutes. Every employee should have this subjected to this, at least in a simple form. Now, if you're an EMT, a fireman, a policeman, or you work at a hospital, you need a full-blown version and a PowerPoint presentation. But if your work is incidental to bloodborne, and it's not necessarily what you do is expose your people to bloodborne exposures like body fluids, you don't need to know the whole 9 yards. What's the point? Keep it simple and relevant, and you've touched on the subject and you've documented the file. The other subject is hazard communication. Again, a short version of this is ample unless you're a paint manufacturer, or you work as a spray paint booth employee, or you're around chemicals and solvents every day. That's different. You need the full-blown version at that point. But if this is another incidental exposure, you don't need to make a mountain out of a molehill. Keep it basic, have documentation, and you know the rule is, if you're going to do it, document it. If you're not going to document it, don't bother doing it because it's a waste of time. It means nothing. In the he said, she said version of safety, you lose if you don't have documentation. You're going to lose that battle every time. Now notice up a lockout tag out. This is for maybe a maintenance person. It's a way to extract the full version, and it simplifies it down to a front and back with a test. So you can document their understanding, those that work around the periphery of it. This is a way they can understand. They're not necessarily hands-on technicians. They don't stop and start the machines and stick their hand in there. They don't have the padlocks assigned to them for lockout tag out. But they need to have a fundamental understanding of the subject and their part and role in it when it comes to safety. The last thing you'll see on the screen is for maybe maintenance. When you've gone through the lockout tag out version with maintenance, this is a way you can have them, again, cover your bases. You'll notice this is a 7-point reminder for maintenance on lockout tag out. You can either have them say, for the next 7 times you do this, or however many times it's listed at the bottom of the form, they will document this as a refresher, read the 7 points, date and sign it, boom, go with the job. Or you can say once a week they have to do that, date it and sign it. Again, repetition is the mother of awareness and the mother of skill. Keep safety simple, have meaning, enforce it, and you'll be in much better shape than shotgunning all this information out there that nobody has an inclination to know, to understand, nor do they have the ability in their life to tie it to their life. So what you're doing is keeping it focused. Rule 1, safety need not be rocket science. 2, focus on catastrophic loss. You've got to control catastrophic. There's no excuse for that. The incidental ones will take care of themselves. And remember, just like in life and like in many things with safety, the simple gets done, the complicated does not. Keep safety simple and to the point. If we're going to summarize a lot of this, we're going to say you can't stay on defense in any of the subjects, including safety. You've got to take an offensive role. You've got to get active and you've got to show you've done something. We have the tools, the strategies, and we can help you in this to keep it to the basics, but yet it will enable you to have the benefit of the information and a way to get it out that makes sense. Remember, you're going to profit if your claims go down, your severity claims go down. That means your mod is going to come down and your cost of coverage is going to come down, and that's what the game is all about. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.